All right, let's talk about something that I'm willing to bet almost every single person learning a language has run into. It's that frustrating feeling, that gap between all the words you know and what you can actually say out loud. We're calling it the vocabulary trap. And today we're going to show you exactly how to get out of it. So, let me ask you, does this sound familiar? You've spent hours and hours with your flashcard app. You can recognize hundreds, maybe even thousands of words. And you feel like, yeah, I'm making progress. But then someone walks up and asks you a simple question in that language, and your mind just goes completely blank. It's like the words are in there somewhere, but you just can't grab them and put them together fast enough to make a sentence. If you're nodding your head right now, well, you're not alone. And there's a name for this. You've fallen into a really, really common pitfall, the vocabulary trap. It's this kind of illusion of progress that you get from just collecting words without ever building the skill to actually use them in a real conversation. I love this analogy. It just breaks down the problem perfectly. Let's look at these two learning styles. On one hand, you have passive memorization. That's our flashcard method, right? It's like memorizing the ingredient list in a cookbook. You know what flour is, you know what sugar is, you know what eggs are, but does that mean you can bake a cake? No way. Then you've got active practice. Now that's like actually getting into the kitchen and cooking the meal. You're learning how the ingredients work together, how much you need, the right order to do things. You're building a real practical skill, not just a list of Okay, so we've identified the trap. But the good news is, there is a very clear way out. It's all about shifting our focus from passively collecting things to actively creating things. So let's dive in and see what that actually looks like. This table just lays out the difference so clearly. On the left, passive memorization. It's all about recognition. You see a word and you know what it means. But a real conversation needs recall and use, which is what you see on the right. You have to pull that word out of thin air and use it correctly. Passive learning creates all this knowledge in isolation, just a bunch of floating words. Active dialogue puts every single word into a context. And the end result? Well, it's crucial. One path leads to that hesitation, that freezing up we talked about. The other path builds real, usable confidence. So here it is. Our active solution is a technique called dialogue practice. And listen, this isn't about having some long, complicated philosophical debate from day one. No, it's about taking brand new words and immediately, right away, putting them to work in short, simple, back-and-forth exchanges. Think of it like a musician practicing scales on a piano or an athlete running drills. It's the fundamental work that builds the actual skill. So to make this really concrete, let's look at a super simple but really powerful way to apply this. We're going to call it the hobby dialogue method. The whole idea is that when you practice with topics you actually care about, learning becomes way more effective and, honestly, a lot more fun. And it really is as simple as these 3 steps. Step 1, learn a few terms. Just pick a hobby you love, say photography. Learn a handful of words. Camera. Take a picture. Beautiful. Nature. That's it. Step 2, form a question and an answer. Create a simple exchange you might actually have, like, do you like photography? And, yes, I love taking pictures of nature. And then, step 3, practice. Just say that little dialogue out loud, back and forth. Do it with a partner, do it by yourself in the mirror. It doesn't matter. Just do it. So why does something so simple work so well? Well, first, it gives every single new word an immediate job to do. That word camera isn't just a random flashcard anymore. It's part of a real question. This builds what you could call conversational muscle memory. It literally makes the pathway from your brain to your mouth faster and more automatic. You're connecting words to actual situations, not just definitions, and that makes the whole process way more engaging. And this brings us to a really, really important shift in mindset, because the goal here isn't just to pile up knowledge, it's to build something that's honestly much more valuable for anyone who wants to actually speak a language. This quote right here, this is the whole idea in a nutshell. The goal isn't just to know the words, but to get more comfortable with using them. Your success isn't measured by how many words you have stored in your brain. It's measured by how comfortable you feel using the words you already know. Comfort is what lets you speak without second-guessing every word. It lets you experiment without being afraid of making a mistake. It is the absolute foundation of real communication. I want you to think about it like this. Every tiny little dialogue you practice is another step you take across that bridge. And that bridge, the bridge of comfort, it leads directly to confidence. And it's that confidence, that willingness to just open your mouth and try to engage with another person, that is the real key that unlocks fluency. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's pretty simple. Stop collecting ingredients and start cooking. Shift your focus. Move away from passively memorizing lists of words and start actively using them in small, simple dialogues. And that leads us to our final question for you. And I don't want you to just think about it. I want you to actually do it. What's a hobby you love? Is it music, gaming, hiking? Whatever it is, pick 3 or 4 words related to it. Form a simple question and an answer and practice it today. So what's the first dialogue you are going to use to escape the vocabulary trap for good?